Hello, everyone. Here we are again with our Walking Miracle for March, Kelvin Deveaux. And I am so excited that he is here with us today. He is a success coach that applies what he teaches, and he has a really, really wonderful story for you all today, kind of where he came from and how he arrived to where he is today. Hopefully, he doesn't sing for you guys because he likes to sing and he can't really sing at all, but he hasn't had his tea today, so we'll see
You're
how
right.
that goes. But what I want Kelvin to do for you all is just kind of tell you where he came from and how he got to be the successful businessman that he is today and all the wonderful, wonderful things that he has planned for his future. So, Kelvin, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, first I want to say thank you for having me to be a part of
Well,
Walking
thank
Miracles.
you.
Definitely grateful to be in front of you all that are watching this, whether you're watching it as soon as it is uploaded or whether it's days or weeks later. Extremely happy. And just like Tiara said, my name is Kelvin Deveaux, and I am the founder of True Story, which is my brand that I've developed. And I come from what a lot of people would classify as humble beginnings. Born and raised in Abbeville, South Carolina. I'm the youngest
Most of
of
y'all might not know where that is.
yeah, but it's in upstate. It's in upstate South Carolina, and I am the youngest of three siblings. I have an older brother and a sister, and just definitely grateful for my family. And yeah, so that's a little background.
Okay, cool. So, humble beginnings
Mm-hmm.
in Abbeville, of course. I'm
Mm-hmm.
from Greenville. That's like the city of South Carolina, one of the best cities. So, little old Abbeville. No, I'm just playing.
I guess.
But I want to just say thank you for being here. Yeah, I know you said that you were very, very happy to be speaking to people today.
Definitely.
And so you are in business for yourself. You have your own brand, True Story.
Definitely.
And right now, tell us a little bit about what you're doing now.
So right now, currently, what I'm doing is I'm building a business, and
Okay.
with that business, what we do is we help families. We help families get enrolled into a program that's really going to be one of their best friends on the worst days of their lives. And what I get a chance to do is go ahead and change the narrative of other families so that they're in a better position than when I first show up. They're in a better position when I leave. So I'm extremely happy to be in business for myself, but I'm not in business by myself. And when you ask me where I come from, to tie into that, I was raised by hardworking parents, hardworking grandparents, and my grandmother and my mother, my dad, my granddad. They always taught me the value of hard work. You don't get anything, without hard working. And one thing that my grandmother shared with me that is so big is that anything worth having is not going to be easy. And anything that is easy is not worth having.
Right.
So I developed that mindset. I've clinged on to that saying early on, and I really use that as a motto. So whenever times are tough or whenever something happens, I just always stick to my guns, so to speak. And my grandparents and my parents have just about always worked for a company or corporation, things like that. They have always provided for myself or my siblings, and just to look at the narrative of how things went. My grandmother was fortunate enough to retire from a corporation that paid her a pension, and I knew what that was, and so she always took me places like family reunion trips, and she always exposed me to different things. Like, that was like the first person to actually put a mic in my hand at church. That's where I get my speaking, talents and gifts from is, through her. So I said all that to say that when she was coming through, when she retired, she had a pension plan. So coming up, I was always taught, you go through high school, you graduate high school, then you go to college. Once you go through college, you get a degree. Once you get that degree,
you get a good job.
You get a good job. You work that job. You don't leave that job. You stay with that job, and then you retire. And just knowing what that was going to look like for me in our day and age, because a lot of people don't offer pensions anymore. That's something that most millennials, people our age, never even heard of.
Absolutely. We have 401k plans and all that good stuff.
And that's just another way that you're going to save your money.
Right.
And my thing is that that's okay, you know, if that's what you choose, but I always knew what the difference was between pension and 401k. So
can you enlighten us, because I don't know the difference.
Okay, so 401k is okay. 401k is basically where a company says, well, hey, you know, when you get paid, we're going to take some of the money that you would have gotten put in your pocket. We're going to put it into this separate account. Whatever you put in, we may match it, we may not, but we're going to help you build that up over time.
So kind of like a savings account.
Correct. Like just like a savings account. And then once you retire, you can get it out, because if you get the money before you retire, they're going to tax you, they're going to penalize you, do all kind of things.
Right.
But once you retire, they say, hey, you can get this money out. Most times when people put into their 401ks, things like that, just saying for most people, not everyone, but most people, they may have a few $100,000 saved up. So for instance, if someone has $300,000 saved up in a 401k, and they were already making...
They got a good job.
Yeah, great.
Because I was about to say, when I got a 401k, and I don't think it's going to be $300,000 in there when I finish. I don't think it is.
For people who stick in there, I mean, and it's possible, but exactly, you got to have that type of job to get there.
Yeah.
But if they have $300,000 in their 401k, but their monthly expenses or their yearly expenses are $50,000, and they retire at 65, that 401k is really what they set in their mind is, this is going to carry me. But if someone retires at 65, numbers show they're going to live at least until 80, 83.
Right.
But you got $300,000, you cost $50,000 to live a year. Well, that's only 6 years worth of living.
That's true.
Out of that $300,000. That's why you see a lot of people, they go back to working part-time jobs in their 70s. Just because they need the benefits or they need the money.
Right.
So a pension is actually where a company, when the company profits, when the company makes more money, they say, hey, because you have been with us, we're going to allow you to tap into, to share with the profits that we've been making.
Right.
We're going to set this money aside for you regardless of what it is that you do.
Okay.
So that's the difference between.
So I'm kind of jealous now. Like, I'm a little bit jealous because I need a pension. I don't want a 401k. I don't want a savings plan. I already got a savings account.
Correct.
I don't need that no more.
Correct.
I would rather have a pension.
Definitely.
But it's amazing that you say that, because of course I was taught the same thing. Mm-hmm. I'm from Greenville, South Carolina. Most of y'all know that. Yeah. I am the oldest of three, not the youngest. And so my mom taught me the very same thing. She's a really hard-working woman. So, of course, when I do different things, it always sends her system into a little bit of shock, because I made a video probably like a year or two ago called Death to the Three Options. My mom, she gave me 3 options. Okay. And it wasn't because she didn't love me. It wasn't because she wanted to keep me down. It's simply because that's what she knew. And so she told me I could go to college. Okay. I could live with her for 6 months and get a job and move out. Or I could go to the military. And those were my 3 options. That's it. There was no start your own business, travel the world, none of that. Just those 3 options. And those are the same 3 options that she was given, the same 3 options that she's giving my brother and sister, the same 3 options that some of you have. And so what I'm learning as an individual, me and Kelvin, he's also taught me some things and showing me his business and how everything works. And I really appreciate that, because I'm always looking to do something better to secure my future, because the truth is the 401k plan, it is going to run out. And he was talking about $300,000, and I'm just thinking like, I'm hopefully there'll be $100,000 in there if I were to work the 40 years. Wow. Because every paycheck is only maybe about $150 going into the account, $300 a month. And so it's not even going to be that much. So what's going to end up happening is I am going to end up having to go out and work. So that's why I'm always looking to do different things and, stepping out on faith and believing God that he's going to secure my financial future and allow me to be financially free, because that's what we do. And so I'm so glad that you're saying all of this stuff, because one of the things that I want to encourage you all to do today is stop giving your kids 3 options. Like, the sky is the limit. There's like hundreds of thousands, maybe even millions of options that they can take to reach different goals. Just because you are afraid to take those risks, just because you may not have your confidence built to that level to go out there and do something different, don't limit them. You know? Yeah. To,
hop on that. For one, I didn't have 3 options. I had 2.
You had 2?
My daddy told me. My dad. I'm talking about for as young as I can remember. My dad always told me, "Boy, when you grow up, you either going to the military or you're going to school, but you're getting away from here. So I didn't
Right,
even have a third
right.
option. So, but I say that to say, to harp on what you said about, if parents are, I guess, apprehensive about their kids actually doing something that is new, doing something that is
Right.
unusual at that time. It really does. And what I've learned personally is that it comes from a place of concern for parents.
Absolutely.
Because our parents, they care about us and they love us so much. They don't want to see us get hurt. But they let the fear that is within them control what they say or how they
Right,
react to
right.
us. And I remember when I was getting started into this business, I was working for the largest telecommunications company, really worldwide, and I was actually at the regional office here in South Carolina. And I was working when I first got into that company. I mean, if you ask all my closest friends, my family, I'm like, oh man, this is it. Like, I'm gonna retire from this place. I'm
Right,
gonna get in because
right. Yeah.
that was my first full time job out of college. I had my degree. They started me off at like $16 an hour. Where I'm
Right.
from, if you get $10 an hour, oh my goodness, we need to.
You in there.
You in there. Like,
Yeah.
you own your money place, you get $10 an hour.
Right,
$12 I
right.
ain't doing a little better. But 15 to 16, oh man, this is what people work 20 years to try to get to.
Yeah.
So, to get started at that company doing that, they gave me the 401k, they gave me the full health benefits, dental, vision, insurance, all kind of things. All the stuff that, they tell you that whatever. So they gave me all that stuff when I first started. I was like, man, I'm retired here. That lasted for about 5 months.
Mm-hmm.
I was there for a total of 8 months. That excitement, that enthusiasm that I had for the job, it lasted for about 5 because I got in and I hit the glass ceiling. And for those of you who don't know, the glass ceiling is just like Tiara and I said, coming from the backgrounds that we come from, they tell you that they want you to trade time for money. So my thing is, I've always wanted to be wealthy. I've always wanted to be rich. I've always wanted to have more than enough. And not just selfishly, not just for myself, but, a lot of people think, well, money is the root of all evil. Well, really, it's the love of money that is the root of all evil. Absolutely. And then, some people say, well, I don't need $100 million. I don't need $1 million. I don't need all that. Well, sometimes it's not even for you.
It's for everybody else.
Correct. It's for all the people that you can bless. So I've always, wanted to have more than enough so I can do more. I know I can do more with the more that I have.
You can help more people.
Correct. So coming from a place where they tell you, you come in, we're going to give you $20, $25 an hour, which most people never get $20, $25 an hour for one, unless they've worked 10, 15 years. So they tell you, the company tells you, you come in, you give us an hour of your time, of your energy, of your labor. We're going to give you $25, and people expect to think that, hey, from this job, I'm going to get rich. I'm going to become financially free. I'm going to become, secure. I'm going to become wealthy. Well, you have to remember that if you're trading time for money, you're only one person. If they tell you they're going to give you $25, well, for an hour, well, for one, there's only so many hours in a day.
Absolutely.
You're only one person, so you can only work so long before you get tired, you need your rest, things like that. So you can only work so long, and then they've already told you what's the most amount of money that you can make.
Right.
So by being with that company, I soon felt that, like, I can't get wealthy here. I can pay my bills and I can have a little money left over, whatever it is, but I'll never truly be wealthy working for this company. Absolutely. So the last 3 months out of the 8 that I was there were completely miserable for me because that resonated with me every single day that I went to work. And so at that point, I was like, I have to find something else that I can do because I don't want to stay at this job because there's no need in me putting my time into a place that's not going to help me be wealthy. So I need to get out of here as quick as possible. So I thought the answer was find another job that paid me a little more, paid me $20, $25 an hour.
Absolutely.
But I only have a college degree. I only have a bachelor's degree, which is what the world told me would be good enough at this time.
No, you got to get a master's and then a doctorate. And
then I got to have 20 years experience and I got to know somebody. And then, so regardless, I'm not going through all that. So I tried to find a job that paid me a little more. I was getting off of work. Sometimes I was even at work. I was applying for jobs at work.
Right.
And so just to put in applications, type up my resume, do all kind of things, and then to be denied, like that's the most And I'm gonna just be transparent. That is the most heart-wrenching thing when you're trying to find another career, to go apply for different jobs just for them to tell you, well, listen, we found somebody more qualified, you don't fit, or whatever
you
it is.
overqualified.
Yeah, it's like, man, I gotta apply to 30 jobs a day. Some people apply to 10, 15 jobs a day, and they still, so I understand that. And so by me doing that, I slowly but surely begin to understand that my wealthy place, my power, my life was not going to be valued within another company. I'm gonna have to build something myself.
Absolutely.
And around this time, when I started to understand that, the current president, he was running. It was looked like he was about to win. So I was like, I definitely got to find something now.
Let me figure this out.
I got to find something now quick, because before he was elected president, I said that, hey, no matter what happens, I'm not gonna let whatever happens with this presidency affect my life.
Absolutely.
I don't believe in excuses. So that's where the birth of True Story came in, because I said that, hey, I know working for this job, they're gonna pay me, try to pay me hourly or whatever. I can't worry about this job. What's something that I can do that'll make me a lot of money? Well, like I said early on, my grandmother, she had me doing Christmas speeches, Easter speeches in front of the church. She put the mic in front of my hand. So I've always had the gift of gab, so to speak, and I could always speak and articulate things. And so I like to speak. And I remember being at Coastal Carolina playing football. We would have prayer service the night before a game. And so I remember when I would get up and I would share my testimony or my story, what I have been through, the different things that I've learned. And people would come up to me and say, man, I really appreciate you for saying that. I really appreciate you for sharing that. You got away with words. And so I just started to look and internalize that, and like, what can I do that's something that I can work for myself, something that I can build up, something that people pay me a lot of money. And I started looking into speaking. Realized I started looking up the top speakers, Les Brown. I started looking up E.T. the hip hop preacher. I started looking up Tony Robbins, Gary Vaynerchuk, Damon John, who was the owner of FUBU. I started looking up how much all those people make just for going to speak.
Just speak and encourage and inspiring people.
Correct. And people will pay you a ton of money. If you speak the right words in the right way, people will pay you a ton of money.
To do it.
So that's when the birth of True Story came. So the purpose and the mission and the background of True Story is to create a platform that will share with viewers, share with the audience, share with the world things that they could use, real life stories, true stories, real scenarios, things that they could hold on to, that will inspire them, that will motivate them, that will give them hope and give them something to really a law, because there are certain laws that all of humanity abides by. I'm not talking about like speeding laws, but in a figurative sense. Correct. It's something like that. No matter who you are, where you are, what kind of upbringing or background
you have. Like the morals
that
we have.
Correct.
Yeah.
And there's certain things that you can't avoid just because you have a ton of money. If you jump out of a 5-story building, the law of gravity is going to take effect. You're not going to go around that law and fly.
Right.
You're definitely going to go down. So it's certain things like that in the world. It's just like treating people right. You treat people right, you sow seeds into people, you're going to reap that benefit. Well, if you oppress people, if you talk down on people, well, that's going to come on your life as well tenfold. Really, whatever you sow, you get back, you reap what you sow.
Right.
But the other part that people don't say is that you actually reap much more than what you sow.
Absolutely.
Because if you sow seeds, if you go sow flower seeds, or my grandparents, they used to grow peppers, in the yard or whatever.
Yeah, so my grandma grew tomatoes.
Correct. Now they probably started with maybe 2 or 3 seeds of tomatoes, maybe, right? But when that stalk, whatever it is, grew, 8, 9, 10 tomatoes was on the vine.
Yeah.
So you get back much more than what you put in, whether that's good or bad, and just things like that. So basically, I said all that to say that, with the way that I started to realize that I had to form my own thing, it was different for me. And when I said that our parents, they come from a place of concern, my mother has never owned her own business.
Right.
I think she's working on it now. I believe she is, but she has never been to that place. So when you're doing something that's different, no matter if it's family or if it's friends, if somebody hasn't done what you did, it's going to be extremely difficult for them to give you the right type of advice that's going to help you.
Absolutely, because they only can speak from a place that they know.
Correct. Mm-hmm. Right? Now, if somebody never went swimming, how they going to tell you how to float?
They can't.
They can't tell you that. So, I remember it was in the last 3 months. I think it was like a month and a half before I quit. And this is how I knew I really had to get out of this place. And just being transparent. I was working second shift. I had to work 2:45 to 11:15. And I remember I had got up one morning. I had went and worked out. I came back, showered. I was fixing a smoothie. I was fixing some breakfast. And what happened was I was just sitting there thinking, this was like a Tuesday. I was like, man, I got to go to work today.
Right.
And I just started thinking, I was like, man, I really, and mind you now, at this time, I hated the job at this point. But like I said, in the last 3 months, I hated it. So I was just started thinking like, man, I really got to go to work today. And I just remember sitting there just crying. Like,
it'll do it to you.
Yeah,
that misery, like, that takes root in your soul when you know you're not living out your purpose and your destiny. Oh, I know the feeling.
That thing hurts. And I just remember sitting in my kitchen just crying. I started thinking, like, it's no reason why a healthy young man like myself, who the world told me I had the world in front of me, should be sitting here, if not even crying, just worried or complaining about going to work. And that's what a lot of people do. Most people hate their job. For one, job is just over broke. It's just going to keep you there. But most people hate their job. Now, there are some people that love working for a corporation.
Absolutely.
There are some people that absolutely love what they do, and they don't have to make a lot of money because that's their passion. But there are some people in the world that are only working just to pay a bill, just to pay a light bill, just to pay a car note, just to have a little money in their pocket. And that is not what our Creator intended for us. We were not put here just to work, just to make a paycheck, make some money, and pay some bills. That's not what it is. So I started to realize that. And one way that I found out that I was really starting to hate that job, and one way a lot of people can tell whether they hate their job or not. If you're going to work on Monday and you already thinking about Friday, you're in the wrong place.
Right.
If you going to work at 8 and you know you get off at 5, and at 8:13 you already watching the clock, like you at the wrong place.
What's happening? What about when you get off of work on Friday, but you're not really happy about it because you know you got to go back to work on Monday, and the weekend gonna go by real fast, so you already dreading Monday
real quick
because Friday, you like, yes, Friday, but Monday coming quick.
It's
coming quick, and it's going to be here. I got a day and a half, and I'm already tired, so I got to take a nap. So by the time I wake up, Friday over. So
correct.
Yeah, so it's real.
That's a real thing. And so I was feeling all that at that time, and I was telling my mom, I was like, Mom, like, you know, I know this is a good job. I know whatever it is, but Mom, I got to quit this job.
Right.
And I got to go do something else. She's like, what you going to do? I said, Mom, I don't know. At this point, I really didn't know. I said, Mom, I don't know, but I have to leave this job because if I don't, it's doing too much damage to my spirit. And I felt like my spirit was being shaken and thrown against the wall and just whatever. So I was like, Mom, I got to leave here. And so once I found out about this business and I was getting started into this business, and I haven't even truly started the business yet. I just had the information about it. And I was like, Mom, I'm about to quit my job. She was like, oh, no. Like, you know, you got that good job and they have those things, you know, they have the benefits. You know, don't leave that job until you have started to have success in business yet. And I was like, Mom, hear what you're saying.
That's the same thing I was told.
Correct.
Yeah.
And I was like, Mom, I understand what you're saying, but I cannot do it. And so I ended up quitting. Right. And to her, that was not the smartest thing. Even though she was supportive, she's always supported me. She know I can always do it. She just wanted me to be in a better place before I did it.
Because she's worried.
Correct. Yeah. And so my thing is, I really truly believe I have a great measure of faith that I've worked up over the years, and I've always believed that no matter what I do, God is going to provide for me. No matter what I go through, God is going to pull me through it. So when I took that leap, you know, it's really just me. I don't have any major responsibilities besides rent, car insurance, things like that. Right. So I was like, you know, why not go ahead and step out on faith? And that's something so big. And this is good that we're actually doing, you know, walking miracles, because now I can actually share a true story. And the true story is, you remember when Jesus had just fed the 5,000 with the 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish, right?
Absolutely.
Well, what he did was, once he fed those 5,000,
Mm-hmm.
he told the disciples to get into a boat and go across the other side of the lake.
Absolutely.
Now, when he did that, Jesus said, I'm going to go up here and pray, and I'm going to meet y'all on the other side when I'm done. So the disciples, they got into a boat. They went across the lake. Jesus, he went up to pray. And it said that the Bible says around 2 or 3 o'clock midnight, our time, if you want to put into a time thing. So Jesus came down from the hill, and he actually began to walk across. He was like, okay, I'm going to go meet them over on that side.
Yeah.
So he began to walk across the water. And at this time, there was a storm on the lake. And then, the storms and the waters was raging.
Mm-hmm.
And the disciples, they saw this figure walking on water. So one of the, Peter, one of the disciples, they was like, oh my goodness, like it's a ghost. Like it's something out there. So in the Bible, it says that Jesus had intended to walk past them. And even though, and I think I want to kind of break this down right here. Well, actually, I'll just break it down later.
All right, come on, Preacher Kelvin.
Okay. So it actually said that Jesus had intended to walk past them.
Right.
But, he was just like, don't fear it as I. So he told Peter to come to him. And, Peter was like, Jesus, if it's really you, tell me to come to you. So Jesus was like, okay, Peter, come to me. So, Peter, he got out of the boat. He was walking on water until it said that he saw the wind. It said Peter saw the wind. He became shaken. That's when he started to drown. He said, Jesus, help me. So just a few things about that. For one, it was already a storm. Jesus already knew that they were there, and they said that he intended to walk past them. So Jesus, God, they already know everything it is that you're going to go through. I was listening to something this morning, say God already has a plan. God already knows. God is not,
the plans that he has for you.
Correct. And so he already knows everything that you're going through. So for them to be in that storm, for them to be worried, Jesus wasn't worried. He's like, I know y'all, I'm going to meet y'all on the other side.
Right.
I know y'all will get across. And then, the next largest thing is that there were 12 disciples in the boat. Only one of them had enough courage even to say, hey, Jesus, tell me to come to you. And so when you do something that's unordinary, a lot of people aren't going to understand. A lot of people aren't going to go along with the journey, but you just have to believe what you're doing is right. And then when you go, he was actually walking on water. This was the only person ever recorded in history besides Jesus to walk on water. So, and it said that he was actually walking, but then he saw the wind and he became shaken. Well, I'm in my 20s. You're in your 20s, Tiara. So I know that for a fact, I've never seen any wind. I've heard it.
Right.
I felt it, but I've never saw it.
Yeah.
So, you got to ask yourself, well, hey, what did Peter see? And what he saw was fear. He was, thinking about all the things that could go wrong. So a lot of times when you're doing something different, a lot of people would say, well, I don't know if I'd be good at that. I don't know if I can really make that happen. Well, they don't have that faith that they can walk on that water, even though they can. Because God wouldn't have put that thought in your mind in the first place if he didn't believe that you could do it.
Or that he wasn't going to give you the provision to do it. So I really, like you saying all of this, just a few things that you were talking about, going to work, feeling your spirit die. And like you say, one of the things, I'm a teacher. You all know that as well. One of the things I always tell my students is because, of course we struggle when I'm trying to teach them because they don't want to learn nothing. But just the fact that it's a difference between living and being alive. There's a difference. And a lot of people, like he was saying, they die in their 20s, actually. They don't continue on living. They're alive, they're breathing, but their spirit is dead by the time they, get to their 30s and their 40s. And this is where you see a lot of miserable people who can't smile, they're pessimistic, all of these things is because they die in their 20s, honestly. When you go to those jobs and you don't have the faith to step out of there and actually take the destiny that God has for you, because he's already set it forth. You just have to give him something to work with. You have to just say, Lord, I want what you have for me, because what he has for you is so much better than what you're doing to yourself. And I just thank God every day for the process that I had to go through, all of the lessons and the pain and all of those different things to get me to a place where I actually have enough faith to step out and say, you know what? It is what it is. Either I'm going to succeed or I'm going to fail. Either way, I'm going to learn something new and I'm going to be okay that he will provide. And you were saying, that you have the gift of gab. Well, I don't necessarily have the gift of gab, or at least I don't think that I do, unless I really want to have it. But my gift more so is passion. When I get passionate about something, I can go on and on and on, and then somehow I find the words to say to encourage someone. And so what I really wanted to say to you all today is we, continue this journey together, and we continue this whole walk in miracles, and we encourage one another, because it's not, oh, well, this is a show that Tierra started, but it's a show for all of us.
Correct.
Because I know what it feels like to be dying inside and wanting something different and just wanting to hear from somebody else, just to say, hey, you know, you're not alone. I feel what you feel. I feel when my spirit is dying on the inside when I have to go to that job, not because I don't love certain aspects about the job, because there are certain aspects about teaching that I do love. Mm-hmm. However, I know that I was meant for greater, and I prefer to pursue with everything in me that greater that God has for my life. And so y'all are not alone. And if you are feeling some of those things that we talked about, you know, where you go to work or you sitting there Sunday night and you have to shed that little tear, or you have to boohoo cry, or you like, Lord, I know I was not created, because I had a moment like that actually my first year of teaching where I was like, Lord, I know for a fact that I was not created to pay bills every day. Like, that's all I'm doing is going to work and paying bills. And at that point, I didn't even have enough money to put in my pocket to do anything else. So I was literally going to work, paying all of my bills, and then sitting in the house like, well, what's next? How am I going to get out of this situation? What am I going to do to be able to do different things for my family, to create that generational wealth? Because it's not just about me. I'm not looking to get wealthy just for myself, but generations after me, the children that I'm going to bear, all of those things, I want them to be able to live out their dreams. I'm deaf to those three options. You know, my mother gave them to me, and I appreciate her for that. However, I don't want to have to give my kids any options. I want to say, hey, this is what the sky is the limit. What you want to do? And that's the conversation that I want to have with them. I don't want to have to say, well, this is what you can do, this is what you can do, and this is what you could do. And that's so important to me. And so just if you are feeling that way, maybe you don't have enough faith to step out today, but continue to build your faith. Begin to read, begin to listen to those different speakers. Like he said, we have different gifts. My gift is passion. I enjoy helping people. I enjoy the light bulbs coming on, and he does too, but he has the gift of gab. I got the gift of passion. Talent, there's so many different talents. You know, if you can't play sports, that's okay. Okay, some of us are athletic, but we just can't play sports. It's fine. We don't want to play. We're too shy. Whatever the case is, you might not be a great speaker. And honestly, you know, we're kind of short on time, but you know, maybe we'll have Kelvin back, because I wanted him to really tell y'all, because he shared something with me that yes, he has the gift of gab, but for a really long time he struggled with speech. Oh, so believe it or not, you know, he's sitting before y'all today, and he's talking. He's like, wow, this young man, he's so articulate, and he's just, you know, talking. But that wasn't always the case. And so, yeah, you have to grow into your talents. You have to grow into your gifts. If you look at some of the past videos that I've done, you'll see like my aunties and people who knew me as a child. It's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that you're making videos. I can't believe that you're sitting here and you're flowing the way that you're flowing. You were such a shy child and you didn't say anything. And people go to my mom and they're like, I enjoyed her video, but I didn't even know she could talk. And I'm like, yeah, y'all, I can talk. But that's that passion. When you're doing what God called you to do, he will make provision for you. Now, if you meet me on a regular, depending on our relationship, I might say, hey, how you doing? And then just sit there. I won't say nothing else, because I'm fine with that. I'm okay with that. However, when I'm doing a video and I'm flowing, listen, I will talk your whole head off if you give me something that I'm passionate about. And not only will I talk your head off, but I actually might change your mind, because I'm pretty good at that. So I appreciate y'all listening to us today. I really, really do. And just to encourage you as we take this journey together, as we keep, you know, moving forward and we keep helping each other. Of course, if you have anybody in mind, if you would like to be on Walking Miracles, please contact me. It's not just about, you know, oh, you got to be doing something so amazing to be on Walking Miracles. No, it's about everyday people. I'm a teacher. You know, he's a businessman, but he wasn't always. I'm doing different things. It's about us growing together and you sharing parts and bits and pieces of your story that could possibly help somebody else. Because so often, and I've said this before on the show, the enemy will use those feelings of feeling like, oh, well, I'm the only one, you know, I need to isolate myself. Nobody else has been through what I've been through, you know, or I'm crazy for feeling this way. I'm this or that. And it's just the enemy. We all go through the same things and we can help each other, but we have to open our mouths and say, hey, this is what I'm going through. Are you experiencing the same thing? Let me help you, my brother. Let me help you, my sister. I'm going through the same things. This is what I did to get past that point, or where I felt like my spirit was dying. This is what I did. This is what I'm doing. Because, I mean, those things still occur every day. It's a struggle. It's a fight every day. And you have to choose. It's a choice to decide, hey, you know, I'm going to move further. I'm going to step out on faith. I'm going to take what is mine. I'm going to take what God has for me. And it's my responsibility to give him something to work with. You can't just sit on the couch, continue to go to that job, continue to allow your spirit to die and think that God is supposed to help you. You have to do some type of work. Faith without works is dead. Right. And that's not just talking about what you're doing for yourself, but what are you doing for other people? You know, what seeds are you sowing? And Kelvin talked about this earlier. So I just encourage you this week to start sowing those seeds and taking those steps as a walking miracle, because I'm a walking miracle. He's a walking miracle. And so are all of you. You know, there's plenty of times where we could have, you know, given up on life, but we didn't. We're still here. We're still living. We're still making it. And so I thank you all so much. I thank you, Kelvin, for being on the show. I appreciate it. And I appreciate what you brought, you know, the business aspect of it, because so many of us in our 20s, our 30s, you know, we're going through the same thing. We're trying to figure it out. What can we do to get out of this rat race? What can we do to be better? And of course, you can always hit him up personally to figure out what it is that he does. Like I said, he's introduced it to me, and it is wonderful. And so if you really, really want to know what it is that Kelvin Deveaux does, how he became this successful young man who started True Story, who's branding himself, inbox him. Figure it out. Maybe it's something that can help and change your life as well. So as you continue your journey this week as a walking miracle, remember the challenge this week is to sow those seeds that you can reap the harvest off of, to help somebody else, to do the things that you need to do to take those steps towards your destiny. Not your next goal, not what you want to do, but your destiny, what God has for you. And so I thank y'all so much. And I am super, super excited about you watching the show. Please be sure to leave comments at the bottom. Share as much as possible. And I will see y'all next week.